Welcome back to the shop. Today, I'm going to show you how to clean up rusty hardware. Now, I wouldn't use this process for anything that might require a torque value because you're going to be changing the properties of the metal. Today, we're going to use quenching. So basically, we are hardening the metal. When you harden the metal, you adjust the properties so that it becomes harder, but in turn, it becomes more brittle. So you're gonna lose its malleability. It won't be as malleable. So, but if you look here, I've got a bolt and a nut, and they are so rusty that they will not thread beyond that point. So the first thing you wanna do is you want to take it to a wire wheel, clean up all the rust that you can. Now, you're not going to be able to clean the rust from the inside very easily. So I've got a quick trick for that, and I will show you how that's done. All right, so got the exterior of the nut and bolt all cleaned up, and it threads to about that point, and then there's a burr in there that it just does not want to go by. Beyond that, it still is quite rusty on the inside thread of the bolt, but I have a trick for that. I'll be right back and show you. All right, so what I like to do to get the rust out of the inside of the nut, again, I would not recommend doing this on a fastener that you needed for a critical component on a vehicle where you had to apply some type of torque spec. So what I'll do is I'll take the bolt and I'll dip it in a little bit of oil, WD-40, whatever it is, penetrating oil, and then dip it in a little bit of sand. Wipe the excess sand off. You don't want a bunch of sand down in the grooves. But then as you thread it on, you'll start to hear that grit. And basically that's gonna act as sandpaper. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick the nut in the vise and I'm gonna run it down on that bolt, just back and forth, and try to clean up that rust. Now I'll take it, hit it with some brake cleaner, and I mean, you can just see there's still a little sand grit on it, so I'll go blow all the sand off and clean it, and it works. So anyway, give that a try. I'll show you the next process here in a second, but basically I'll be heating it up and hardening and quenching this entire bolt and nut. All right, so now we're on to the next step of cleaning up this hardware. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply heat. I'm gonna start with the nut. I'm gonna get it good and hot. It's gonna start to change colors. It'll turn purplish blue. And then I will use, you can use penetrating oil, WD-40. There's all types of things. You can use water if you wanted to, but I like to use motor oil. Specifically use motor oil. One, it gives it a dark color. Two, I have it laying around typically before I can get it off to be recycled. So anyway, we'll show you how that's done. You don't want to breathe any of this in, so just I usually quench it until it stops smoking. Again, you don't want to use this process for anything that requires a torque value. You're making the metal harder, it's becoming more brittle, and you're not going to get the stretch that you're trying to get out of it when you're actually, because when you're torquing a nut or bolt, you're actually torquing it to a stretch state. So by hardening the metal, you're actually making it less ductile. So you're not going to get stretch. It's likely to snap off or break if you try to apply too much torque to it. So keep that in mind. This is not to be used on anything that requires a torque value. But you can see just how much darker that's become. I like to heat it until it starts to change like a bluish hue, and then I'll quench it. It doesn't have to be glowing hot red. But anyway, again, just remember you're changing the properties of the metal.